start to finish. It's the restoration of the Last HEMI.
The foundation of the car is pretty well done. This is the base. This is the beginning of everything. Everything starts here. This is a spot where you really want everything right. We've talked about this in the past, about if your polyester coat has no cut-throughs, you've got less chance of any kind of shrinkage. You've got one pure, perfect foundation. Just like a house, the foundation's crappy, house is gonna fall down, same with a paint job. You know, of course, your filler work and any of the blocking that you've done prior to this makes this stage a little easier, but from here on out, everything depends on how well you do here. We've talked about cut-throughs on the polyester before. No cut-throughs means so much better of a job in the long run, because all those little spots are just a whole different level that when paint is laid over it, when your primers are laid over it, it's just something that you could see through in the end. If you've got this all the same, it's just gonna lay out so much better. Now, there are exceptions to that, as we've talked about before. You know, under a hood, on the underbody, when we had some of the cut-throughs, it wasn't a big deal. There's no UV rays under there. There's an under hood, an under trunk lid. It's not getting constant sunlight. It's not gonna get the same kind of reflections, the same kind of shadows that an exterior is gonna get. You know, we're trying to block this car. When we block this, I've started the blocking, I've done the roof, down the side, and I block across the panel. When I'm blocking across the panel, you know, these panels were removed. They were all removed, polyed, put back on the car. If I didn't line them 100% exactly the way they were prior, you know, maybe I'm gonna have a little imperfection there. But when you're cutting across the panel to try and get that flowing, beautiful finish in the end, you may cut through on an edge. Are you gonna repoly a whole fender because of that little edge? Chances are no. Is that little edge gonna show up? Chances are no. It's the big ones in the middle of the panels, or where you had a higher amount of filler work, maybe because of a crease, a dent, a wrinkle, or something. You know, all those build-up layers, that's where your problems come in. This layer, when you'll block this all out, we're gonna block it as thin as we can, because then again, the least amount of material on this car is the best. Because then, as things shrink up, by the time we're all done, everything's shrunk. If you've got real thick, heavy layers, they skin harden, they don't shrink at the time you want them to, and over time, since they kind of got hardened, they're still soft underneath, they start to shrink, and that's when all your problems come in. So again, you'll see on the edges, and then, like on this car, my polyester level, I put very light on the rockers. There's a reason for that. On the underside of the rockers and on the pinch welds, you do not want to bury any of your spot welds, your pinch welds. There's little stampings in there, little X's. Now, if I could bury them and make them gone with this polyester because it builds that heavy. So you spray it light down there, and when you sand it, you want all those to be evident, because that could be the difference between first place and second place. A judge that can look down there and see that all these pieces are correct, factory, not replaced, all the factory welds are there, the little markings are there. It shows that the car was either cleaner or it was restored properly with attention to detail. So you don't want to bury any of that stuff in. So there's many ways to make it better just by taking that little extra step. And we've gone the extra mile on this car, as you can see, if you've been following along with our progress. And now from here on out, next step, primer, soon to paint.
For more on the restoration of the Last HEMI, visit our website at thelasthemi.com.